Hi, everyone. How are you? Thank you for being here. Welcome to another episode of Journeys to Light. I'm very happy that you're here. This is a space, if you don't haven't seen this before, it's a space where we celebrate transformation, we celebrate healing, and we celebrate those unexpected moments that talk about transformation and helps us change our lives. Um, I'm Jimena, and today is with me someone who embodies that journey. He's someone who has walked through shadows and has come out with music. So I just want to give a warm welcome to Shine, our
That
friend
was
Shine. I
a
know a lot of
thank
you.
you. That was a beautiful introduction. Thank you very much. Nice
Thank you.
nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Thank you for accepting being here. I've been trying to do this for a while. So
Yeah, I'm not the best with organization.
me neither. So, yeah.
Thank you though for working it out. It's very cool to be here.
No, thank you. Okay, so I think this is the first time for us to be together in the same camera and all. So I want to
Yeah,
start with breaking the ice a little bit.
sure.
So if you don't mind, I'm gonna do maybe a quick game with you,
Yeah.
and it's going to be a rapid fire. It's just a couple of questions. You have 5 seconds to respond each one of them. I'm not gonna be getting personal or anything.
Okay.
And just to get to know each other better.
Sure.
Um, so okay, are you ready?
Well, yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So first question is, sweet or salty snacks?
Salty.
Salty.
Yeah.
What is your most used emoji?
Mm, what's an emoji?
The, the
Oh,
little smiley faces we
okay,
use here.
the little hand things. Um, oh man, that's good. Oh, the sunshine. Come on now, shine. You should have known that one. That was easy.
Do you have a guilty pleasure song? Pleasure song
Oh man, probably anything by Journey. Yeah,
or Journey? Oh,
yeah,
I like Journey.
yeah.
For me, it wouldn't be guilty. Um, if you could instantly master one skill, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one. One skill. How to be selfless
Okay,
entirely. Yeah.
that's a good one. Most ridiculous nickname someone's given you.
Flash.
Yes.
Flash. Yeah.
Okay, good
I
thing it
didn't.
doesn't require
I didn't
explanation.
like that. At least those were the ones I heard. There was probably some I didn't know of, right? But yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, what's your favorite way to waste time?
Listening to, playing, or creating any like used to. I would have just said music probably years ago, but now any kind of content really that provides some kind of either outlet for myself or maybe help for somebody else.
Okay, good. What movie do you quote way too often?
Oh, dude, Step Brothers, way too much, way too much. Yeah.
Any favorite quote that you use from that?
Oh man, if I say it on here, your show might get canceled.
Okay, then I don't say
We
it.
use it on Guy and Shine a lot, where he's like, we got so much room for activities." He's like, "Brendan, why'd you let us make bunk beds? And then there's blood everywhere." Yeah, along those
Okay,
lines. Yeah,
gives
so
me an idea.
yeah.
What's something totally random that always makes you laugh?
Oh, this is bad. But like when somebody like gets like really scared, like terrified, scared, I just laugh hysterically. Like I'm the worst person you want around. Like if you got like I mean scared, like somebody jumps out from behind, like not like a crazy kind of scare, but to see somebody get really frightened and like go through those emotions just makes me laugh. So probably should talk to someone about that.
I would laugh about that too.
Yeah.
Uh, if your life were a movie, what would the title be?
Oh, oh, that's a good one. Wow. Um, I don't know. What stomping. These are fast. These are good questions. Probably just shine a light on or something like that, man. Like that's kind of been the theme is like exposing your shadows, your own demons, and then like finding a way to use those as a powerful mechanism without manipulation. So that would be the longer title. Yeah.
Cool. That's
Yeah.
the nice one.
Yeah.
And just finish this sentence. Healing is.
A journey.
I love that. That's what I always say.
Uh,
Destination, it's a journey.
yeah.
Good. Okay, so guys, just one thing. I'm not going to be paying attention much to the chat. I want to be completely focused on Shine because like it's been a while that I wanted to have him here, so I want to have my attention on him. So if you have questions, please mark them as QQ or CC so I can like see them and I can start them. I'm not ignoring anyone. Thank you all for being here.
Yeah. Thank all you guys.
Taking care of you right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's then get started.
Sure.
Thank you for this again. So let's dive now into your story, right? And I
Okay.
would like to start with somewhere where a lot of people struggle with, and they don't always talk about, and it's mental health, and
Mm.
especially for men, because
Mm-hmm.
well, I know you're a counselor or were a counselor, and I'm not
Mm-hmm.
completely sure. You can explain that,
Yeah.
and you've spoken openly about your struggles
Yeah.
in guys and your show. So could you explain a little bit? Can you share your journey and what
Sure.
was that
Yeah.
journey for you?
Sure. Sure. So for me, I'm 42 years old. I was born in '83 in a small East Coast town of Canada. And it was a good place to grow up, but it was very isolated from everything else, like that was going on in one way, and then very explosive and not very well by today's standards. You would it would be hard to understand, I think, for a lot of people. Why that part of the story is important, and I won't speak on it too much, is because for me, it started young. And by that, I mean being in a household where, boys don't cry. And if you do, there's severe consequences for that, which were, violent, physically violent, verbally abusive. And as kind of that old saying goes, if you hear something enough, you'll eventually start to believe it.
Hmm.
And that affects people in different ways. For me, it kind of came out in a way where I dealt with it, particularly because I ended up I have a brother who's 4 years younger than me. And at that point in the household I was growing up in, I didn't really have any oversight. But now that I had a brother or a sibling, I felt like a job to make sure that he was okay and that I kept as much of that away from him as I could, which later progressed into kind of that mentality of if you come around me, if you anything could set me off, because this is just kind of built that pressure of if you don't handle your situation, then you're not a man and blank. And
Hmm.
that went on pretty well my whole life. Unfortunately, it took me about 28 years to understand what was happening and how unhealthy that was. So that's kind of how it started. Um, and yeah.
No, I can imagine how difficult it is. I like in my country, that's something that men normally hear every single time, and you see that in men, like they struggle a lot with being, like at least opening up with their struggles and with
Yeah.
like saying what's going on, especially
Yeah.
because they need to man up or like suck it up. You're a man, and
Yeah. Yeah, there's not a lot of forums. Like I know it's it's gotten a bit better, but like when you're running in that kind of lifestyle with that kind of mentality, you usually run with people who are thinking and acting the same way. So there's not really do you want to go out and sit down and talk about feelings time? Like it's just you shove it down and you keep moving forward. You shove it down, you keep moving forward. Um, and particularly during the time like I was dealing with it at the worst, you're talking like, mid early 2000s, and it was not a good time to be asking for help. Not that asking for help was easy in the first place. That was one of the
Mhm.
biggest issues, was that because of that mindset, it layered or laminated that effect of you don't ask for help. You don't. And if you do, it's dealt with in a certain kind of way, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
A
it
negative
does.
way.
And what, like, you don't have to explain a lot if you don't feel comfortable with, but if was there any specific situation that got you like, okay, I need help and I need to ask for help? or any particular
Um,
person who made you open up, or what changed for you to be able to do that?
well, well, when it first started, because how I was introduced to what I was addicted to was primarily opiates. That's what got me. That's what created the physical dependency. And how that happened again was through exactly the same mechanism that we had spoke about before. Um, a person very close to me, as close as a person can be to you. I mean, I experimented with drugs. Like, there's no secret about that. I've been playing music, on and off professionally since 17 years old. So like the stuff was always around, but never opiates. Like I didn't know what that was. It was mostly, cocaine and booze and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, and how that kicked off was I was 28 years old and things were going well for me. I had a really good career. I was working for a very big company, and but it was too much, way too much for somebody of my age and who had just been running their whole life. You know what I mean? Just to keep pushing things down and get to the next step. Keep pushing things
Hmm.
down, get to the next step. So, 28 years old, I had what I now understand as a burnout. And what happened that day was I was working on top of a ladder 14 feet in the air, and I just seen spots. And I fell off the ladder onto the ground. And
Oh
I
my
didn't
God.
get like hurt too bad, but this would later come to be something that I found out that because of my early life, I didn't really feel things the same way as other people did. But I was hurt pretty bad, like bad enough I should have went to the hospital. And I came back to the place I was living, and the white dust was there, so to speak. And I thought it was cocaine, and I took it the first time. It wasn't. It was an Oxy 80. And then before I even realized the effects of it, I had taken the second one. And what I was told by this individual at the time was, I got something that will fix you up and, calm you down. And I was just assuming that's what they were talking about. So that's how that part of it started. When I realized I needed to get help was after that relationship continued, and my wife became pregnant a few years later, and I made a promise or a vow to myself that my son wouldn't be exposed to any of the same stuff that I was. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to keep that promise because of the amount of work you need to do to get out, but that's how I started my journey on trying to get better. You know,
Okay. Um, okay, and so I imagine your like relationship with addiction has been like a struggle. Like sometimes you like feel you're doing well, and then you go back, and like any other addiction, right?
in those days, yeah, for sure. Like the thing with opiates is that they, at least for me, I mean, every drug is different for different people, and I learned that when I, went back to, when I went through treatment myself, and then helped people with their own treatment. Drugs affect different people in different ways, but for me, the physical dependency part, that sickness, like at a certain point, the drug doesn't, and it's pretty quick, at least it was for me, that the effect you get initially, you got to keep going up, 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 and up, but you'll plateau and it stops working. So then eventually, what you're doing it for is just to not be sick, to get to work, to do the things that you need to do. And then for me, that part stopped working too.
Hmm.
So the struggle part was I went to treatment. I was 33 when I went to my first inpatient treatment, and it was a private center that you had to pay to go to, and it was not at all what I expected. It was very much like jail, where it doesn't seem like the idea was to build you up. It was to tell you you're gonna fail, and nobody makes it past 48 hours. And like this particular center I was sent to for 33 days, and that really got under my skin because there was a guy that was there beside me who like was kind of from the same area as I was and grew up the same way, and that broke him, and then ended up sending him directly to prison, right? Because this was kind of part of the way it
That's
worked.
horrible.
Yeah, and it's no questions asked. It's this is so for me, again, at that point in time, I said, like, if there's a way, to uh that inner being that you talk to, your inner self or God, whatever you want to define it as, I
Mhm.
was like, if there's any way that I make it through this, because again, that mentality ingrained in me was, you just tell me no, you just watch. So the more that they would push me down, the more it built kind of this thing inside of me, um, that said, like, if I get through this, not only am I going to figure out how to help people, but I'm specifically coming back to this place, because the biggest thing that would have helped in that moment for me was not that. Like, I got that my whole life, right? Like,
Mhm.
you're everything, you blah blah blah. We don't need to cry about any of that. But the point is that that programming, you think when you get to this place that finally, right? Finally, I got a
Mhm.
chance to get my life back, and then you're met with this. And there's a lot behind that that we could go into, but just to kind of keep it within the rails of things, that's when the dance started. And why I call it that is because there's not really a mathematical equation to it that I know of, but you do need to understand, and this is not often talked about in centers of private or publicly funded or in any other system that I know of, where they tell you or prepare you for the fact that you are going to lapse or relapse. Like, it's the percentage of that not happening is very, very low. The question is, how are you going to deal with it, right? Are you going to, are you in an environment that is conducive of your growth and your advancing? Because that's 80% of who we are, right? Or
Mhm.
is that going to set you back? And if that's going to set you back, and I'm telling you everything's going to be fine after 30 days, well, there's a huge ethical issue with that, right? So that's when it kind of started for me. And then, interestingly enough, things kind of like after that treatment, I had about a year, maybe a year and a month in of clean time. I was back in good shape, the whole nine. And we moved back to Montreal, and I lived here in my early 20s, and met up with some old friends and got enticed by the dance again for a bit. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like you said, the environment plays a lot in how we heal and how we process everything.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to me that you say that you are like in a place where you're supposed to be getting better, and instead of having a nurturing environment, you get that you find something completely opposite
It was
that is
horrible.
not gonna like let you at least see healthier patterns.
Hmm.
Because for me, part of recovery should be like learning how to like relate with other people in a healthy way rather
Yes.
than a self-destructive way, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So
And like, you gotta, like, the other thing with that is, like, you're dealing with, like, it was a co-ed place, so there was women and men there at this particular one. And like, it was yeah, really, really, like, invasive and very threat based, and no, like, yeah. But I will say this: there was one woman there who, like, eventually would become to be one of the key people. I believe is like one of my personal angels or saints. Um, because again, coming back to, like, men don't do that kind of stuff, you know what I mean?
mhm,
She taught meditation, and it was, in my early years I did a lot, like, mixed martial arts, judo, I boxed.
mm,
So I knew the culture a bit, but, like, that part of it wasn't allowed. And I was very, very resistant to that part of the program, just because of, again, thinking how it's going to look, right, to the other people. Like, who cares how it's going to look? But at the time, I really cared about how it was going to look. And I gave it a chance, and that was kind of the first time where I really, like, had stopped or slowed down enough to sit with myself. And I remember her telling me, she's like, the point of this is not immediately anyway going to be a clear mind. It's going to be just like your recovery. It's going to be a journey. You have to sit with these thoughts. You have to go through these pictures. And you do. So that was the most helpful part of it, and the fact they had a weight room, so I could just literally go to meditation in a weight room, eat, and just like, okay, how many more days? Let's X these off, right? So yeah,
That's good.
yeah,
Yeah, well, I found meditation, like I do that, like you see, if you see my channel, like I do meditations and I do all of these grounding techniques and all,
yeah.
because
It's
healing, like
awesome.
no matter what type of healing you're doing,
Yeah.
it's not linear, it's
No.
really messy, and it's very human.
Yeah.
And so we always think that, okay, I'm going to go there and I'm going to get better. No, you're going to have setbacks, you're going to fall again, you're going to go back to old patterns, and that's going to happen. So you need to find techniques that are actually helpful to
Mhm.
be able to ground yourself and start working from inside out instead of absorbing the environment, which is very hard. And that's
Yeah.
why, like what I'm doing in general, because it helps me help people, and it helps me especially because I have a lot
Oh.
of issues.
Oh, it's
And I
awesome what you're doing. Like to have the courage to do what you do, and like I've seen other interviews and stuff that you've done and some other stuff on your channel, and I think this is the most important stuff on the go, and why these tools or how these tools should be used. You know what I mean? Like we can use them to create badness or goodness, and part of that is like if you know you are dealing with anything, recovery is a pretty generalized term nowadays. So what I say is like no more recovering in silence, because people need to hear the stories that, like, yeah, you can get through it, like, you know what I mean. There's It's going to be rough, it'll take work, but what doesn't? Anything worth doing, right? You know what I mean? So
exactly, and I found that a lot of, and I've said this several times whenever I can, is you go to mental health challenge and channels, and you go to like other like contents and things like that, and they always focus on the trauma a lot.
yeah.
So me, as someone who has been going through a lot of things, when I go there, I think we dwell in the trauma, and
Mm-hmm.
makes you, instead of being able to ground yourself, pushes you back again to that mindset of being like in the trauma. So
Yeah.
what I'm trying to do here, and that's why I wanted you to tell your story, because I think you and I have the same mindset, and we were talking about it before.
Yeah,
It's
we
like,
were.
okay, you
Yeah.
went through all of these things
Yeah.
which were horrible, and I'm like, no one wants to go through that, but you went through them.
Yeah.
So let's honor them. But how did you shift to, okay, I want to be better, and
Yeah.
what is what you're using, because maybe someone will get inspired by your story to get better and to actually see that there's success, and we can, with the messiness and the non-linear and all of the horrible things, there's always light, so that's why I wanted
Absolutely.
to, yeah.
Absolutely. I think, well, I'll try to own that in. I think that, well, I don't think, I'll tell you what I definitely know. I'll tell you that one, if you're in a situation of any kind of struggle, the first thing that you need to do is really understand where you're at, and you need to get real with it, which is difficult, right?
Hmm.
But as far as getting out of it goes, and that's what I find is important, right? Because like it takes a lot of time for people to go through like pre-contemplation, contemplation, you know what I mean? The whole wheel of getting ready to change. But when you've decided to actually do it, there's a few key things that you need to know. And one of them is that it's gonna be uphill for a while. That's for sure. But you're completely capable of doing it because you've made it this far. That's one.
Hmm.
Two, you need something that you love doing that does not incorporate another human being, whether that is a musical talent, walking, hiking, biking, flying, whatever it is. You need something that is yours, and you need something to believe in. If you've got those three things and you incorporate honesty on top of it with yourself, right? Because you have to be honest with yourself, and that's a big thing that people struggle with, because a lot of times when you suffer with mental health and addiction, you've burnt a lot of bridges. At least that was personally my case, right? And I know a lot of addicts would probably agree with that. And you gotta take a look at what's worth fighting for. Like, which one of these hills am I willing to die on, if so be, and what's just a molehill trying to set you back into that spiral. So yeah.
Yeah, pick your battles, and on, like, yeah, it is very hard to be honest with one, like with oneself, I think. And I've seen, like, I didn't struggle with opiates or anything like that. But I mentioned with guys the other day, I struggled with smoking, like nicotine
Yep.
addiction.
Yep.
I've been out of it for 1 year and 5 months. I was like, I've
Congratulations.
been no, yeah, but I've been like this past month, I've been struggling a lot. My anxiety is over like really,
Through
really
the
high.
roof. Yeah.
And I'm like eating a lot, and I'm like, I don't want to eat anymore because I want to do something else. I'm trying to work out. And then I was like, I'm just gonna go buy one. No one's gonna know. Like that's what I say to myself. And then I'm like, but I'm gonna know.
This is my last one, I swear.
And yeah, and then I say like, no, but you'll know. And I've
Yeah.
been trying to be very responsible to the things that the promises that I've made to myself. And that's where the honesty comes, right? Like you
Yeah.
need to be honest with
Yeah.
yourself and say, no, you're not doing this
Yeah.
because you're harming yourself. You're not kidding anyone. It's you. And
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
you get into that mindset, it's difficult for me right now to break that. So I hope that people can get there,
Yeah, the
even though
best
it's
way
very
is to
difficult.
just never start. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like it's cliche, but like, um, there's a few key things like I found that really were helpful for me, and if I do not use them, then absolutely I go into that. I don't really deal with anxiety or depression. My things was always more anger and rage, if
Mm.
I'm honest. And then that caused a lot of issues that I currently deal with. But that's something too that like it's a lot to do with mindset and how you're taking care of yourself. And for me, like every year, I make a point to like take at least a week, and I go to see like I got two very very good friends like that have been friends of mine since about 12 years old, and probably key part of the reason why I'm still here today. In fact, they are key parts of the reason why I'm still here today. And so last year, because there's been a lot that's happened since like 2019, right? For everybody, for the world. And I never really like kind of was like I'm good at solitude and like being alone. Like I'm great at that. But I mean, 3 years of that and everything else that kind of went on with that whole scenario really started tinkering with my mind again.
Hmm.
And I just had to go back to my roots, back to basics, back to my good roots, I guess is the key word I want to use there. And those are the same people that have been there for me for the majority of my life, right? So, getting back to that and taking time for yourself and just doing the little things that you enjoy, if you can once a year, you know what I mean? I know sometimes it's a struggle and financially things are difficult, but it doesn't have to be fancy. Like sometimes I'll just drive out a clay road and walk into the bush for a mile and camp for a week. Like, you know what I mean? It's just getting away from kind of all of this so you can get back into here. Because if you do struggle with that stuff, and I don't think it's ever completely healed, right? Like it's always going to kind of be there, but
Hmm.
it doesn't mean that you can't be the master of your own world and mind and body, right?
Hmm.
You have to practice at it, just like we had to practice at not practicing and getting into these situations, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
But that's also something that I like to say, that healing takes practice and grounding takes practice. You're not going to master everything at this like one day one. That's
no,
why when you start meditating, you don't start meditating like alone in like the forest with you use
no.
guided meditations, you use music, you just do small bits of pieces of meditation so you can start exercising how to get into that state of relaxation. And so
Learning
it
how
takes
to
time.
breathe, like how, like
Yeah,
I remember
how
it's
to
kind of
breathe is key. Yeah.
silly, but like I was like, my back is killing me. You know what I mean? They sent me to like three or four different back doctors, and like I had enough injuries that I could you qualified for some kind of back problem. And they finally sent me to this dude. He's like, you're always holding your breath. Like you're always holding your breath because like you're just so used to like you know what I mean, and like engage, deal with what you have to, and then you're not doing that like just keeping things regulated. Like an engine works on the same philosophy, right? You need fuel, food, and you need a proper airflow. Without those two
Hmm.
things, you're already setting yourself massively back, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, but practice and time and don't give up. Like I seen like a lot of people and then eventually went back to teaching meditation, and people will get flustered, and that's part of the process. And I find
Yeah.
that part needs to be You're gonna cry. You're gonna get upset. I've seen all kinds of things when I led meditations, but you're gonna get way more out of it, and it's free. You know what I mean? Like it's something that can be yours. You just need to use it, and that's the part. You need to use the tools in your toolbox, right? So yeah,
Yeah, and learn more tools because there's a lot of tools out there, and maybe some type of meditation doesn't work for you, but maybe another does, or maybe there's like grounding rules tools that you can use that are not exactly meditations, but maybe you can just walk in the park with your barefoot in the grass, and that's going to help you. Or maybe just play a guitar because you're a musician, that grounds you. Like do
discharge the
something that is,
alkaloids. Yeah,
find your thing. So that's
yeah.
why I'm trying, yeah, you have to find something, like you said, that
Yeah.
it's grounding you. Like it's maybe a sport, maybe reading, maybe listening to
Root
music.
in the early days, like the biggest thing, like when you do like a post treatment plan or something like that, you can pretty much tell like from what's on that paper how a person's gonna do. And
Hmm.
what I try to do in there is like you want to create something that's reasonable, right? So for like a lot of men, it's I want to get back in shape and I want to get back to my job. I want to get back to where I was, and it's like okay, we can do all of those things, but here are a few things that we need to watch out for, right? And we need to control the pace. That's key because a lot of times when you go down and you lose ground, that mentality hasn't gone away. Like you're still going to want to get back to where you were. Um, but you need to control how you get there because a lot of times these problems come from not controlling the pace. I can't work 12 hours a day for 7 years straight. You know what I mean? I can't do that.
Hmm.
I can, but eventually there's probably going to be something I'm going to need to push me through it or I'm going to break. Like that's what's going to happen.
Hmm.
So, and be like having a mentor was helpful. Like having one person, like I wasn't a big fan personally of the AA or the NA groups. Not for any other reason other than just purely where their locations were. And they were commonly around like lower, well, where you go to buy drugs. You know what I mean? Like there's people
Hmm.
literally in there selling drugs. But finding somebody that was in that community who kind of had the same kind of mindset of like, I don't think that this is what's for me, but what's going on with you, and then learning from them and kind of how they had done it was helpful, which was exactly the same thing I was looking for when I was in treatment. Just please tell me what to expect next. Like, what is coming next? Like,
Hmm.
it would have been nice to know that it's like, okay, for the next, when you leave here, for the next 6 months to a year, you're going to go through the most insane mood swings. And if you go to a doctor, then what they're going to do is they're going to prescribe you for this chemical like like it's not imbalance, but your brain's trying to rebalance itself. Now they put you on some kind of medication, an SSRI or something like that. And that usually, in what I've seen and experienced myself, makes things much worse. Um, and that this is an interesting like particular time is like when you go to treatment the first time and the
Hmm.
gap between usually when you come back the second time or whether it may be jail, but typically there is that one and two. I've yet to meet the person who's gone through treatment one time and got it down, right? Like they usually have to come back or they have to do some kind of follow up or outpatient. And that gap in between those 2 points statistically is the most dangerous because that's
I
when,
didn't know.
yeah, that's when you're going to take, if you do relapse or you lapse, you're going to have the mindset that you're still working with the tolerance that you had before. You tend to be more impulsive, right? So it's
Hmm.
like you could be at work at noon and then be like, I'm out of here. I'm sick. Something happened at home. Just blaze across town, go get whacked, jump in a car, get arrested. And the story goes like that. So that's for men, like particularly for men, because we are pretty extreme, right? Like when we get to things and we're statistically more likely to commit suicide, likely to be more so on and etc. And not to dwell on that because again, the more that you know, the more you can get ahead of it. And that's how we have to think about it, I think, is that if you know stuff, right? Like it's just like going to school. If you know 2 plus 2 is 4, and you know, okay, this is the mentality that I have, and these are the triggers, but I'm the payload. Like, I'm the one who's going to do the damage, right? Like, I could get triggered by who knows what. And
Mhm.
depending on the day, it could vary. But ultimately, if I'm aware of that's what's going to come, I have a better probability of mitigating that because I have the tools, or I know it's time, okay, I need to take a break now because I'm starting to think this way. It's that brief interruption that's tricky because it's not hard to go from being, 4 years in, 5 years in, you hear it all the time, you know what I mean? And then something changed and people just go boom again. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just in a step, moment, a second changes
Hmm.
everything. That's where
Absolutely.
you need to be extra aware of, like, what triggers you and all. Now, it happens to also survivors in other things, like the triggers you have, and to be able to be having healthier relationships. So in this case, it's a healthier relationship with yourself.
Yeah,
So I think it comes in
100%.
different forms.
Yeah.
And um and that's interesting what you say, that gap between when you leave and the second time that they go. What's then your, in like, your point of view on what should happen in between as support system?
Well, I can tell you what I did personally, and this was something that so after I got out of that center that I mentioned to you about before the first one, I had some time to get some certifications and some degrees, and I did what I said. I got certified, became a certified counselor and an educator, and I went back to the very same center that gave me my treatment 8 years before, and I started working there. They hired me on the spot, and I worked there for about 2 years. And I will, at the beginning, I was very happy. I was very happy to be part of things, but then I started to see things that ethically I couldn't look away from anymore. But I had a lot of leeway to try and do things differently there, which was great. The center operator was very kind to me and gave me a lot of chances to try different things. So I ended up starting a men's group, and honestly, I really had no idea what I was doing at the time. Like, it was new, and you got 14 different guys every 30 days. But it just started simple, where it was a safe spot, and it's just the men that are there. And it took a bit of time, but like kind of like you did at the beginning with like the icebreaker thing. So I
Hmm.
learned like those little tricks, and then one guy would start talking about something, and then there'd be like a daisy chain. The next guy would open up about something, and as time went on, then I could get out. Okay, this is what it is, right? Like, this is what the struggle, and it's different for everybody. Everybody takes on the damage or flack, whatever you want to call it, a little bit differently. But ultimately, if you can get to talking about it, then that gives me an opportunity to help you. So what I quickly realized was 30 days was nowhere nearly enough time for somebody, I mean, that had been in to the point where you're addicted or suffering with mental health. 30 days is just scraping the, tip of the iceberg sort of thing. So I started a 90-day program, and what I did with that was just kept it very simple. And I kept it based off of, if you mess up, that you're honest about it. If you miss an appointment, you get one strike. And if there's a combination of any of those two things, or any, you know what I mean, anything where I know for a fact, like, you know when somebody's wasted, right? Like, oh no,
Hmm.
I'm fine. Like, no, you're not fine, right? So I had to be very strict with that, and I ran that for 6 months. So every 3 months, I'd cycle through about, I think it was around 27 guys was like the average, plus or minus. But out of all of them, only one guy did not. Unfortunately, he passed due to his addiction. But the other ones ended up, as far as I know, still to this day are still doing well, and they're on their pathway. And the
That's good.
difference, the difference, what I really found was, it wasn't me doing the talking to them. And this is what I found with when I was there. It was kind of like implied what I should be doing,
Hmm.
rather than just listening, right? Like, and a lot of times, if, at least again in my own experience, at least in that kind of setting, was, you were given two of these and one of these for a reason. So use them. And oftentimes the person literally will tell you exactly what is wrong, and you just then paraphrase and verify, and then we can move on to the important work now. But if I can't get that starting spot, then I'm not really any use to you, nor is anybody else, right? So
Yeah. Wow. This is very like enlightening for me. Especially like all the things that you're saying. Like this is why I like watching people talk about their experiences, because at least you start listening and you see that not like you there's other people going through the same things. For example, me, like a survivor of narcissistic abuse, and getting information from people who suffered the same thing make me feel less alone, because our brain works a little bit like the addiction,
yeah,
because of the like give and receive love and all that, like
neural
sets something in the
pathway
brain that,
rerouting. Yes.
yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it works a little bit like that. And listening to people struggling and just having the information at hand helped me open my eyes in ways that helped me then try to get better. And I think that providing this type of information is important for people who are struggling with addiction, so they can understand, okay, this is what's going to happen the next 30 days. I can be self-aware of what's going on. I can check on me. I can do this, and I can start monitoring myself, because there's no one else who's going to be able to save me but me. No.
Yeah.
So I think that's
Facts.
why I find important to have these. And now we have platforms like YouTube or any other platforms that we can just go and share the information. Um, so I think it's very valuable that you're here right now. Like really, especially now,
Oh, yeah.
there's a lot of people in the chat that we were part of a community that
Yep.
is like related to addiction, and we were like people who got together because they're struggling with this. So right now, a lot of them are saying that what you're sharing here is very valuable, because we were lied to and a lot of these things. So now seeing you as an authentic self saying like these struggles is very helpful for them. So thank you so
Oh,
much
well, thank you. You're very
for
kind.
doing this.
All of you.
You're helping people right now,
Uh,
which is amazing.
well, like that's kind of the, I don't know, that ideology has kind of been with me since a kid. Like, it's just like, why, if you know something can bring harm to somebody and you have a possibility of reducing it or helping, then you
Mhm.
absolutely should. Like, I get it's hard, I get it's difficult, and I get it takes time. I understand all those things, but when you get there, you need to. I mean, why not, right? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, this is amazing. So now let's go to the next like point that we were going to talk about, because I think all of these, well, from what I see, part of all of your journey has been also related, very closely related to music. So
yes.
I want to know how music has played a role in your like all this
My
getting out of
greatest
it. And
love. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, music started for me, even though like it was a kind of crazy time where I grew up. There was always players, right? And like that meant like, like it was sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I'll just say it. But there was something about the music that would be played, particularly my aunt and my uncle. They would, like, my aunt took a lot of care of me when I was pretty young. And she'd sing all the time, like, just like she just had one of those voices where she could just sing, and the windows would rattle in the best way. And then I had an uncle who was like this incredible guitar player, and like he just would bang around and show me some stuff. So, long story long, when I was 8 years old, he gave me a little guitar, and I knew a little bit of what he showed me, but I mean, not enough to really like make a difference. So I got a tape. You remember like those cassette recorders? Like, do you know what a cassette is, or am I like way too old
No,
for that?
yeah,
Oh,
I'm
okay,
your
cool.
age.
Okay, all right. I thought
I'm
you were
1 year young. Like
25.
I'm
Yeah,
1 year older than you.
all right. So anyway, I had one of those, right? And there was this one record, or what do you call them? Radio stations, yeah, back in the day. And every time like an AC/DC song would come on or something, you have to like play record to like try to
Oh,
catch the
I get
track,
that.
right? Like click it, and it'll take you like
Yeah.
4 times because you're waiting for it to come on.
And then
And
they put
then
the promo of the radio
yeah,
show.
exactly. You're like, oh, I almost had it. I almost had it. So then I just started banging around on this old beater that I had, and I picked things up slowly, and that kind of started taking me to a place in my mind that I didn't know existed yet. It was like MySpace, not the web page, but like my own personal space where once I was able to do just simple things, like I mean, just doing a run or like a power chord, that was kind of how it started. And then I started writing songs, and then we had moved at this time, so this was 8 when I started like self-teaching myself, and then around 10 I met this guy who initially he was like a big bully of mine and we turned out to become like best friends. It's a wild story. But he was
Yeah,
oh yeah, like for real, like it's yeah, it was an interesting time. An interesting place and
can
time.
imagine,
Yeah.
especially from bully to best friend.
Oh yeah, no,
So-
like it was the old school bullying too, you know what I mean? Like it was
oh wow.
crazy. But anyway, one day it had come to a head, and we beat each other pretty severely. And we had this principal, and he was a big dude, like a big man. He like took us and he put one of us at one end of the hallway, me at the other end of the hallway, and he goes, one of two things is gonna happen. He goes, you're either gonna kill each other or you're gonna become friends. It's like, and he's like, we're gonna sit here for as long as it takes. And I was just thinking, like, if I'm not home on time, my mom's gonna kill me. So he's looking at me, and like we finally get up and we talk to each other, shake hands, and we get on the bus, and we both live in the same neighborhood. And he's like, do you like music? I'm like, yeah, I love music. He's like, do you like Nirvana? I'm like, they're my favorite band. He's like, you want to come to my house? I'm like, yes. He's like, did we become best friends? I'm like, I think so. So it's like a very quick switch, and it started out like really
Well, that's
really
a nice
simple.
story.
Yeah, yeah. So it started there, and we became, really good friends, and we still are today. Unfortunately, as things go, he had a bit of trouble in the next couple of years, but I always had kind of what he taught me was really what took me from like kind of messing around in my bedroom to, okay, I think I could actually maybe do this. And then it just carried on from there, and it got bigger. And by the time I was 16, I had a full band, and we were full-time gigging. We were doing tours.
That's
We had
nice.
records out. And then we moved to the big city, and that was where a lot of these things came to a head, because growing up in the Maritimes of the town I grew up in, there was like 17,000 people. If the whole area was 100,000 in total, but going from there to Montreal, where there's like 1.7 million people and a scene that you've never understood, right? Like it was, a totally different thing. And when we got here, it took off even faster because being an English band in a French city at the
Mhm.
time was good, because like a lot of Anglos were coming up here. And but that's when it kind of went into like high gear mode, because up here it's interesting. Like you can feel like there's a lot of people that are from here that are famous that people would know, but they don't like how famous they actually are here. If you become like that level, even if you're playing regularly, like you're in the paper every week, they do
Mhm.
radio, like, so you're walking down the road and you start to get to know people, people start to get to know you. And
Mhm.
that's where kind of that naivety kind of got me into a bit of trouble, because you think everybody's your friend, and
Yeah.
maybe they're not all trying to do harm, but sometimes when people see something where maybe there's an opportunity, you got to watch it for that.
Yeah.
And that that got out of hand pretty quick. So by 23, that part of it at that point in time, I had to shut down just health wise. I was not in a good spot. And we took a break for about 2 years, and then we tried to start up again. And then just after that, I kind of started doing solo stuff, and I was happy with that for a while. But then I realized it's not that much fun doing it entirely by yourself. Like it's a lot more fun to, like, with what like me and Guy do, like, to have somebody to riff off of, or just having another person there that can sing with you or whatever. Like doing it by yourself, I don't mind doing it once in a while, but I didn't want to do it full time. But I
Mhm.
also knew that I couldn't really have the same people around me that I had anymore. Like I kind of started to understand that. And then eventually I got back into really writing again about 3 years ago. And I started doing that again when I was working at, well, it wasn't writing initially. What I was doing was I had a client and I wanted to do some music therapy with him.
Mhm.
And it was like hip hop music, which was not really like something I was familiar with because I kind of came from like the rock and roll and punk rock and acoustic and just the kind of the
You're
guitar.
awesome, by the way.
Yeah. What?
You're awesome, by the way.
Oh, yeah. No, you're very kind. But yeah, so you know, he's like, hey, can you make? I had the idea. I'm like, I think maybe this would help you, right? Because like he was a rapper kind of already, and he just got out of jail. He's on this work release program. So I made up some beats, and I brought in the stuff, and he kept trying to start, and there was kind of a switch that kind of happened in my mind at that point, and I was like, yeah, I think it's time to get back into this. Like, you know what I mean? Like I didn't that wasn't my intention, but like that's where it ended up. So, and that's yeah, kind of what I'm focusing on now, I guess. Yeah. So
Wow. No, it's amazing. And you're very talented. And, like, I'm fangirling right now. So so,
that's
so you have a
fantastic.
fan from
Yeah,
Mexico. So
well, I
that's great.
appreciate it. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
like from you and Guy, I'm always there for the music. And if I'm not there, well, like in the chat, I'm listening. And I have people telling me, like, Silly Girl is coming up. And I'm like, oh, okay, go see them.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's
So yeah,
wicked.
yeah, you're wonderful. You're very talented, and I think you like. I don't know. There's something about your music that it's very, um, especially that song, like all of them. But "Silly Girl," you have to sell that one. Like you're gonna be famous, and I'm gonna say he
Uh,
was in my channel. I have proof
you know what? I'll never.
that I know
I'll be
him.
back. I'll be back. If that
Yeah,
happens, I'll be back for sure.
I'm
Yeah.
actually wanted to see if you and Guy and maybe have someone else like the Gen X effect, to have a game night or something that we could do something fun.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
think it would be nice.
I'm sure we could figure something out. Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Cool.
Okay, let me go through some like comments and questions that may be there.
Yeah.
Um, so he said he missed his lifetime movie, A Good Day to Shine. That was the title that Gen X suggests for your movie, the name of your movie.
Nice. That's a good one.
Um, then let's see. Peyton asks, these streams you do interviews. Just in Journeys to Light, it's not interviews, more conversations and getting to know people. So just that. B says a lot of hellos, I think. Let me see. Ladies of iTalk says, Shine, you are so brave to share. So many can relate to you. A true inspiration. God bless you.
Yeah. Thank you. Very kind.
Boogie, hi.
Boogie time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love her.
Yeah.
They profit of you being sick. Yeah, that's true on those places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Big
that they do,
Boy.
Boogie. Yeah, that they do. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's no business, so they want to keep you in the loop of consuming, consuming,
That was
consuming.
one of that was the kind of the straw that broke the horse's back for me, which was I literally remember saying, I'm like, how is it? Okay, there's 12 months in a year, right? And this person's been here on and off for 9 months at $25,000 a pop, who eventually ended up dying from an overdose. They switched from, she was hooked crack cocaine, and they wrote her a prescription for Adderall, and they found her dead 48 hours in the alley. 48 hours later in an alley. So when I asked the question, how are we helping people? Because I started to see it get at it. You started, because it's like anything, like you come in and you're given yours, and
Mhm.
you're not there all the time, and then you start hearing things, and then they start adding up. And I asked the question, and they go, well, they won't shut us down, and frankly, these junkies got no place else to go. And I was like, what? Like, yeah, so
That's
be
outrageous.
careful. I don't want to scare people into like not getting help. That's not what I'm trying to do. But do your research. Check, get reference checks, whatever, Yelp or whatever they have now. I know there's different stuff you can check. Most of them have to post on their web pages like the actual reviews. So that's a great place to start, because one thing I've seen a lot, and especially if it's a loved one, people panic and they just pick the first place that's available. Don't do that. Make sure that you vet them, and they're certified, and check the reviews, because the reviews are going to be something that's coming directly from the person that was there as a client, right? So
Wonderful advice. No, yeah, it's definitely. I'm glad you brought this up. I'm gonna make this a short just to make sure that people have this at hand to know
yeah,
that they have to do the
absolutely,
research.
sure.
Important. Thank you, big boy. Thank you for sharing. Boogie Time says meditation and weight room. Nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's nice.
you know it. Yeah.
Yeah, as someone who survived a parent who was diagnosed psychopath, I really like Shine's story, and it really resonates much more than I thought it would. I'm glad, Benny, that it resonates
I'm
and hopefully
helpful.
it's helpful
Yeah,
for you.
yeah.
Ladies of I took right because other people can drag you down.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You gotta watch for that. That's the weird, like, that was the strangest part of it, is that, like, I knew time and time again how I was gonna go down, and it was, man, depending on how close people are to you, or how close, I guess, we let them to us, that's up for
yeah.
debate. But when you're in it, it's hard to see the forest from the trees, so to speak. But when you recognize it, don't forget it. That would be my advice, because fool me once, right? And if they get an opportunity, they're probably going to do it again, and you probably already know that. So,
But that's the thing. I think that's part of also being honest to yourself,
yep,
because we want to lie and we want to believe that we can give second chances, and it's okay to give second chances, but they have to
absolutely.
come with proof that they are changing.
Yeah,
So I'm like, okay, there's change, and I'm not gonna get dragged. If you're gonna hurt me now, then I'm gonna step away. But that's something that you
yeah.
have to be honest to yourself and set boundaries for yourself, not really for them. Like boundaries are to
Good
protect
word.
you.
Boundaries. I like to refer to them as treaties as well, because it's like, if you break these, we're done. Like, and they have to be absolutes. Like, if you're talking about the
Exactly.
kind of things that we're talking about, it's not. There's no wiggle room here. This is what
No.
you said. This is what you agreed to. One, two, three, you're out. Like,
Yeah. And
that's
if
my
I'm
that's my
setting this
policy.
boundary, don't step on it. Like if you're stepping on it, you're showing me that you're willing to cross more boundaries
Of
later.
course, of
So it's
course.
like you're showing me a behavior. Like I can warn you once, okay, you crossed the boundary.
Yep.
Second time you do it, okay, we're
Mm-hmm.
done. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how
Good.
it should work. Yeah.
It has to, because give an inch, take a mile, right? So, and there are people that, unfortunately, until they, decide they want to change, or they decide they've had enough of that life, if they ever do, because some people don't recognize it. Like, the amount of people that, fortunately, I met that were older than me, that said, I wish I would have been able to recognize what you see now, like, you know what I mean, at half of their life, right? 60 years old is not when you want to be getting started at this, right?
Mhm.
So, every day is a blessing, and you want to take advantage of that. And also, the other thing is, if you know somebody that is doing that to somebody, or is doing it to you, the other part is, we're just enabling them to get worse, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, be firm.
So true. Yeah. Loving this time. Thank you, Brazy, for sharing the link of the village. Okay, yeah. We have Cosmic here. She says, I'm lucky that I didn't burn too many bridges, except by choice. Mine are mostly just, I don't know what, singed? I don't know the word signed.
Singed, so not
Singed.
not completely burnt to the ground yet, but
Okay.
they can be repaired. Yeah.
Everything and the foundations are still there. That's a good thing. Everything, great philosophy, and the sheets work wonders if you don't bleach them. Let's see. So Ben wants to know, do you teach meditation?
I do. I haven't for like the past 6 months or so, just because of other things I've been doing. But it is something I'm going to be starting again probably in the next month or so, and I think I might use this kind of format here.
That would be
So,
awesome. Yeah,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
needed, Shine. You're needed. I like that. Awesome. Question. Do you have a channel? Yes. I think Krumel already shared it. She says we
Yeah,
need more people who understand addiction in our community.
yeah.
I'm not sure you're talking about addiction in your channel, but
There's okay, so like on my channel, it's a mess. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's when I first started, okay, so I started kind of like with how am I gonna do this, and I had a lot of ideas on how I wanted to do it. So a lot of the videos that are there in the beginning, the full form videos at least, are going to be directly related to ways, skills that you can use to understand how to get back to yourself. So like the importance of purpose, things like that. And then that's riddled with like music and a bunch of like, you know,
Mhm.
just different stuff. So but yeah, that's kind of the split on it. And I had somebody on here that I met who is an inspiration to me personally, and they told me they're like, "You're so all over the place. YouTube doesn't know what to do with you." I'm like, "Yeah, that's pretty much the story of my life." So,
No, but I think you have
so
like if you have great content and there's we could collaborate with other people, creators and all, and
yeah,
you do your music, you do wonderful music. So
yeah. Oh, thank you.
okay, so then Boogie Time says I could see that being difficult. AA and NA being located near drug spots and liquor stores.
Oh man. There's like if you're not familiar with the programs, like there's what they call at least up here 13 steppers, and if you know the steps, there's only supposed to
Hmm.
be 12,
Hmm.
and they hang out to get people that are in a difficult spot. Like there's guys who like if it's an AA meeting, they'll be like, hey, like say it was you, Jimena, for example, be like,
Hmm.
hey, do you need a ride home? And say you got no car, you'd be like, yeah, sure, hypothetically, right? And then you know they start feeding you liquor or pills or whatever to like yeah, it's terrible. And like the worst part is that like usually these things are located pretty close to like wherever you might need to go for like your outpatient treatment, whatever that may be. So they know what's going on, and it does feel sometimes like you know it's kind of set up for failure. On
Yeah,
for your failure is what I mean. You know what I mean, or my failure, I should say. But yeah, so I'm not again, I'm not discouraging it because there's not going to be any one silver bullet that's going to work for anybody. Maybe some people are okay with that. Like maybe some people can put on the blinders and go in. I don't recommend it in the early days, and especially now there's a ton of stuff where you can actually be safe. Like there's a big one called Smart Recovery, which is all online, so it's like a forum like this, and you know you
hmm,
can go in there. It's free, and I think they do it like 2 times a day, 7 days a week. So you can, you know what I mean, get your stuff out and be safe. And if you do anything, that's kind of on you, rather than, you know what I mean, putting yourself
yeah.
in a position.
Well, and I see that here in Mexico too. You have the like like beside the liquor store, like you have
Yeah,
the gym with the bakery
right.
like next door.
Yeah,
Like how I'm gonna
baking
still be,
cupcakes while you're on the treadmill.
and
It's like
they
this is
actually put the smell there. So it's like how am I gonna lose weight with this? It's like the same with addiction, you know. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
ridiculous how they
yeah.
do that. It's part of the circle, I think.
They call it marketing these days, don't they?
Yes, exactly.
Oh wow.
Um, okay, so Selena, hi. She says, "Shine, you are amazing." Yes, you are. Um, okay. Clint says, "You all can catch Shine live on Good Vibes show with Guy and Shine
Yep.
Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern." And it's a wonderful show. I
Good
start my
job.
mornings with you guys. I
Ah,
start my mornings with you guys, and it's amazing. Always good vibes. We
thank you
missed you
very much.
yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, I got yesterday was a another hockey game. Okay, so
Hmm.
I'm in Canada. I guess I didn't say that. Oh, I said Montreal, so maybe people know that's in Canada. But hockey up here is like football in the United States. So it like starts pretty much in October and ends hopefully before June, depending on how well your team does, right? So
Hmm.
we had a game yesterday. Unfortunately, I found out about it Thursday night very late, and Yeah, so I ended up missing the show yesterday and then practices today, but it's all good. That's
We missed you, but we
that's
know you were not hockey. Guy said something about it. So
yeah, well, that's kind of I'll mention on that because you asked before like things that are helpful. I'll tell you one thing that was really helpful for me was actually getting back into sports and giving, especially to the younger kids, because one thing I learned is if you can get to, and this you can look this up, to a child before 12, 10 to 12 years old, right? Because by that time you've kind of made the outline of who you're going to be and the character you've created, so to speak. And if you have the ability or capacity to do any of that kind of stuff, I really would recommend it. The way it helps your soul, the way that it'll help you see things different and kind of adjust to the current way of
mhm.
things, in a good way. It's been a huge, tremendous help for myself, and also having that consistency there, whether it's hockey or the Guy and Shine show or whatever I might be doing myself. That's a big part. Be consistent, show up, and if you can, help, because helping, like they say, hurt people, but helping people help people, right? So I like to think of it
Yeah,
that way.
I think it's what you give is what you receive. So if you're
Yeah,
giving positive vibes, you're giving good energy, you're helping, then you're gonna get help yourself, receive help yourself, and by helping others. So I think it's part of.
yeah,
That's why I like doing what I'm doing, because it's what you throw to the universe, what you get back. So
absolutely, yeah.
yeah. Cosmic says she's doing much better with her fourth go round. Things are very different this time. She's been sober for the last couple of, I think it's a month already. We're very proud of her.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we're very proud of her. She's
Congratulations.
doing great.
Good. Very
Yeah,
good. Keep going. Don't stop. You know what I mean? Like, four and you're still going. Like, again, you're still going. Remember that part. That's important.
yeah,
Keep
and she's
going.
amazing. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
struggling. She's doing great.
Good.
Um, it's so nice after being burned to see someone who is authentic. That's what I was telling you, that we are seeing someone who's very authentic and really wanting to help people. So thank you for that. We needed that as a community. Okay, for all who struggle with addiction, just want to make sure I acknowledge everyone in the chat because they've left a lot of comments.
Yeah.
Um, they say, um, when we were talking about cassettes and all, I remember I used to record the radio, then try to play it all on the drums later, play rewind, play over and over.
Yeah.
I snapped
Yeah.
so many tapes doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how it
Yeah.
gets started, man. Like, it was a different time. But you did what you did.
But I
That's
remember then I didn't have any cassettes like where like we could record, so I used the ones that were already not able to be recorded, and I
mm-hmm.
put a little piece of paper there so you could actually then record.
You knew the tricks.
Yeah, I knew the
Yeah,
trick. Yeah,
nice.
and then you put it there and you put it on the radio.
There you go.
I did that. Yeah,
That's awesome.
I think
That's
we all
awesome.
did at the same age. Like we,
Yeah. Yeah, like everybody had like a different way. Like, I know I knew a few people like that just love to sing like these different songs along with it, so it's cool.
yeah. Let's see. Music is a huge part of my recovery. Okay, Shine is a great guy. Look at you, brother. You shining man. You made it. Yes, he does.
Thank
Okay.
you, man.
Thank you so much for sharing. Ellen, smile. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. We truly appreciate your openness and honesty. We do.
You're welcome.
And Diodogor says the 13th step is also a reference to people embarking on a romance with someone else in recovery. I didn't know
Ding,
that.
ding, ding. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
So yeah, so those were the questions. Let me see if there's another one that I may have missed. We have hockey fans here. This is formerly known as Hockey Town John. He's going to start a channel saying healing through songs. He's going to be doing reactions to songs
Nice.
that were for healing. So yeah, you can go subscribe. Dave says I'm a lot of hockey games myself with my grandsons. So we have people like our
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
um,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
no. It's a big thing. And like the older and the bigger and faster the kids become, the more intense the game becomes, the more intense everything becomes.
well,
So,
my dad used to play hockey when he was young.
Oh yeah.
Here in Mexico. They had a hockey league, and
Oh
he still has his his skates. I don't know
yeah.
how to call them, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Skates. Yeah.
and he loved them. He loves hockey.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's
It's in your
yeah,
bones. Like.
yeah. Thindo, he's a wonderful guy. He loves hockey, so we have hockey fans here. So
Nice. Well, to all you hockey
yeah,
fans, I
we'll have
say
a conversation one day about hockey. One day, hopefully.
absolutely for sure.
Okay, so now I have to bring the uncomfortable part of the evening, I think, and you know
That's
what
not
I'm going to talk
uncomfortable.
about.
I'll just need a, I'll need a second to prepare. I'll have to,
Okay,
you
it's
know,
okay.
man.
So the other day we were live in Down the Road channel, Jamie's channel, and you said that you were going to sing
Yeah,
Silly Girl
sure.
here. So yeah, I'm
I
going to
can do that.
fangirl a big time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be on screen fangirling, but I'm going to fangirl. So
Well,
I'll
no
let you
problem.
prepare.
I'll just take myself off for a minute or two, and I'll be back. That's cool.
Sure.
All
Let
right.
me remove you and you let me know. So yeah, guys, what do you think? He's awesome, right? And you're gonna see listen to his song. This is my favorite song he sings. It's amazing. So I'm fangirling. Everyone who knows me well will know that this song, one of my favorites. I'm always like when I'm working, I have someone tell me, "Hey, Silly Girl is on," and I just go like running to see and listen to the song. Yeah, I love it. So this is going to be huge for me. Like with when I was in my channel and he sang his song, I was so happy. So yes, I'm fangirling right now. Someone catch Jimena. She's about to faint after she throws. No, I'm not gonna throw anything. Um, Thank you, Big Boy, for sharing the stream. Guys, if you can subscribe to Big Boy, he's trying to reach his 10,000 subscribers and he's supporting me also. So let's go show some love and let's help him. He wants to become something. YouTube 10K. That's a big number. Also, B, hi. If you have channels that you want to share, please do. I would love to. YouTube partner. Okay. So yeah, I'm very excited. Very excited about the next part of the of this. He's gonna be singing Silly Girl. What else? Any other questions? I'm losing my voice. This is how excited I am. Yeah, let's go. He's preparing. He's setting everything up. So we'll have to give him some chance. Hey, Steve, how are you? He'll let me know when he's ready. Silly Girl. I'm so happy.
All right. Let's see.
Really?
Check.
Ready?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Then I'll remove myself and I'll let you play.
All right. The song's called Silly Girl. Oh, you know what? I gotta restart. I forgot to do something. Reduce the noise. Remember that thing? I was like, I gotta remember
yes,
that.
no worries.
It's gonna clip me. I got it. All right.
We'll add this as a blooper.
We'll cut that part out. We'll cut that
It's
part
okay.
out.
Okay, I'll let you play.
All right,
Thanks.
here we go. 2, 3, 4. Where did you come from, silly girl? I know I just met you, but I can't seem to shake you out of my head, out of my head. My favorite song was playing, and you were shaking your hips with no invitation. try. I can't even find a pen so I could see you again. You gave me your poison, and I breathed you in. And just like my favorite things, you disappear in the end. This is for Desi. And as the band was winding down, I couldn't find your face in the crowded spaces. And then out of nowhere, you appear without one question. Yeah, we disappear. Well, you know I won't forget you, no matter how hard I try. I can't even find the words so I can see you again. Give me your poison, and I breathed it in. And just like my favorite things, you disappear in the end. The end. The end is just the beginning. And you know I won't forget you, no matter how hard I try. I can't even find the words to tell you how much you blow my mind. You gave me your poison, and I breathed you in. But just like my favorite things, you disappear in the end. The end. The end. Yeah.
Wow, I'm so happy. I'm just
I'm
fangirling
glad you're
along.
happy.
Yes, I'm very happy.
Very
I was singing
cool.
along. Thank you so much for doing this. Like,
No
really made my
problem.
day.
Was I like out of the camera the whole time?
No,
Okay,
no, where you
cool.
were like
Like
just
shifting
this time.
around, like Shifty McShifterton. Yeah.
No,
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 awesome.
you're
Yeah.
great.
Thank you.
No, I really want to thank you for doing this. I know,
Oh no, my
like I
pleasure.
was very pushy, but I like
Not
you
at
made
all.
my
No,
day.
you're an
Wonderful
incredibly
song.
kind person. Incredibly kind, and you do great work. And please keep doing it. And
Thank you.
you know what I mean. Let's keep on doing what we're doing, folks, together. Right? So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you guys for this conversation. Thank you for showing support. If you can go like subscribe to Shine and to Guy, they go every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Yeah.
Well, I know my time. It's
11 to 1 Eastern Standard
11
Time, and then
Eastern Standard. Yeah.
occasionally, well, not occasionally, but we'll be doing after dark shows too. So that's more of us, a little bit more relaxed and playing songs back and forth. You know what I mean? So it's we're working
Cool.
on something to bring, new. So that'll be cool.
Awesome. Are you
Yeah.
playing tonight?
I will be, but I'll be playing with my brother online tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
So
no Big Jack show today or anything.
no, not tonight. No,
Okay,
that's coming up in May, and then there's a couple other little things coming up over the next couple
cool.
of weeks. So yeah, it'll be good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here and for
Well,
sharing
thank
your
you.
story. And yeah, thank you guys. And I'll let you go. We've been over
Thank all of
like
you
almost
guys.
hour and a half, over 2 minutes over than what I told
Time
you. So
flies when we're having fun, don't it?
yes, it is.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. And I'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Take care.
You too. Thank you guys. Have a
Thanks,
wonderful
guys.
night.
Night.
Bye.